The news can be a very confusing landscape for parents, let alone children. But we as parents must educate our children on how to differentiate between fact, opinion, and fake news. Here to offer his advice is Ken Dolan-Del, author of Simple Habits of Exceptional but Not Perfect Parents. Good morning, Ken.
Hey, Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm well.
It's important for us to keep in mind, well, that's great. It's important for us to keep in mind that one of the most crucial things that we can do as parents is to help our kids navigate reality. And reality is under threat these days.
You're absolutely
right. There's so much nonsense that's out there. And we need to be role models for paying attention to facts and not whatever we see on Facebook that came from who knows where. And we need to be able to distinguish fact from opinion.
So, Ken, let's start there. What is the difference between a fact and opinion?
Well, Merriam Webster says that a fact is something that actually exists. And that's kind of a little bit vague, so I'm going to elaborate on that and say that a fact is something that can be observed, counted, or measured. And so, for example, a fact would be how many unarmed people are killed by police across different demographics every year. And we know that Black people are killed at a much higher number than Latinx people, than white people. We know that we can tell how many people came to an event. They registered, they were there. These are facts. Facts are things that we can measure, we can count, or we can observe. And actually, we can go a little farther and say that facts are the foundation of science. And so a fact is something that if you test it out over and over again, you get the same result. If you have a thermometer and you boil distilled water, or you heat distilled water, it will boil at sea level, if you're at sea level, at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees centigrade, every single time. So the scientific method is based in, if we do experiments, do we get the same results every time? And if so, then we can say that's a fact.
So now we have a better understanding of facts. What are opinions and how do opinions play into facts?
Okay, so a fact is something that's real, something that we know. So we know, for example, again, that if you wear a mask, and we can see this through experimentation, if you wear a mask, you are going to block the water droplets substantially that we expel when we breathe, when we sneeze, when we sing. An opinion is, what do I think about that? How do I feel about that? And it's often been said that we have a right to our own opinion, but we don't have a right to our own facts. So an opinion is what we make of it. So what I decide about the facts and how I feel, do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I want to comply with something that I'm told to do that is based in fact? Those are opinions. And I'll say this again, we have a right to our own opinions about all the facts that exist in the world. Reality and facts are pretty much the same thing. We have a right to our opinions, but we do not have a right to facts. Facts are observable, countable, measurable. There are no alternative facts. There are only facts and non-facts, facts and lies, facts and falsehoods.
And it is so important now with the plethora of information that is fed our way every single hour of every single day to make sure our kids understand the difference between a true scientific fact that's been proven and what someone's opinion about whether it's facts or some other subject, and how to differentiate between the two.
So important, and we need to be role models. So, for example, when we hear somebody of great authority say, this medication will cure you from this illness, and we know that there have been experiments with many, many subjects under controlled conditions that show that, in fact, this medication has no benefit, and in fact, it has some detrimental effects. We need to call our kids' attention to that and say, you know what you just heard? That's a lie. That's not true. And unfortunately, we're hearing lies from people who have great authority today. Right. And that makes it even more important for us as parents to be there to counter with reality. again, one of the most important gifts we can give our kids is this ability to use their own minds, to use critical thinking, their own judgment, to make distinctions about how to navigate the world. And when they're presented with information, how to evaluate that? How do you check it out? Where do you go to look for other authoritative sources?
Right.
All of these are important skills to teach our kids, and we have to model them ourselves. So we don't want to be telling our kids, I read this thing on Facebook. I have no idea.
Don't even get me going on Facebook, Ken.
Where it came from. But here's what I learned.
Right.
Well, that's not really learning because it may not be based in fact.
Ken Dolan-Del Vecchio, as always, thank you so much for that advice. It's such a crucial advice at this time right now. Thank you again for joining me.
Sure, great to be with you, Patrick, as always.